Was going for the Global Business Solutions Manager at Yahoo, Sunnyvale. And I had been at Overture for a while, which was acquired by Yahoo. And it was an exciting time. I mean, I have to say, between everything I was learning, all the things that, people were telling me and sharing in terms of upgrading my own position there and providing for the family. I mean, it was on fire. I mean, that's how I can describe it. And there were really just two contenders for this Global Business Solutions Manager slash director, I want to say. Let's keep it at the director level. I basically was selected from a pool of people, but really there were just two people that was going for it. All the managers and the employees and my team that I had at Yahoo basically all said, hey, Jan, this is your position. We're all excited for you. We're rooting for you. In fact, one of the senior managers, a vice president in my group, had personally called up, that's what he said anyway, called up to corporate saying, Jan is the man for this position in Yahoo Sunnyvale at campus. And I had been there many times, and I'd met some of the senior leaders, and just fired up for getting this position going. But there was some things brewing here, which I'm going to share now. And there's some key takeaways, hopefully, that you can learn from based on experience here, and some hard lessons, the school of hard knocks, so to speak. And so basically, here's where the story starts. I needed to make a change. The position came up. Somebody said I should apply, and I did apply. And I flew up and I met the CIO, the Chief Information Officer at the time, Lars Rabbe. He was from Denmark, and I'm originally from Norway, so the Scandinavian Viking connection was obvious, or at least I thought so, which you'll hear in a second or in a few minutes. Maybe not. But anyway, great guy. Nothing bad to say about him. In fact, he was a great leader for many years, I understand, up there. And so when we were talking, he was basically saying I'm a shoo-in. And then I learned more about the other person that they were considering. And I think it was a Redback or something like that. They had worked together before, and they had created a bond, a relationship, and a trusted one at that. And he was, I think it was called Redback, but anyway, the thing is, he was not available. He was committed to the other business, and even though that was the case, Lars also felt that, hey, you would be a natural contender for this position, meaning a little guy from a small town up by Lillehammer in Norway. I mean, here I am years later, coming out of a music career in Norway and in Scandinavia, touring all over. We actually made a top 10 hit there, and coming to LA via music, and then moving up the ladder, so to speak, years later, through many trials and errors in the business, life, etc. Here I am talking to senior leadership at Yahoo, engaging at a level I could never have imagined. Just the honor and the privilege to be there, totally blown away. But, when you're in the mix, you don't really think about it until afterwards. I wanted to share this with you here today. Kind of unscripted. I have a few notes here on my desktop, but so ultimately, yeah, things were feeling good. Flew back to LA. Really just all around good feelings. The family, friends, very supportive, even though it required some uprootedness in terms of having to go and leave Los Angeles, which, by the way, I love, and move. We had a small team here, some rugrats happening. It was not an easy move per se, but the opportunity was great. This was a mid six-figure salary level, which, some may look at and say that's not much these days, although this was a few years ago. There was the opportunity for stepping up the ladder as well. And I really hadn't played the corporate game that hard, but this was a way and an opportunity for me to really move up, and I wanted to play that game. It felt natural for me, even though my background is not that, right? So anyway, I talked to HR, everybody thumbs up. It's now just a matter of waiting. So when I flew back to LA, they said it's probably going to take a few days, maybe a week, and they're going to let me know on the application and the process, and, go ahead and get your affairs in order. So very positive, fast forward thinking all around. Then about a week, 10 days go by, and it's very quiet, and that silence, right? If you're listening to this, you've been there. A little too quiet for my liking. So basically what I wanted to then do is take action and call them up and say, I'm Jan, and I am up for this position, and just wondering where it's at. I haven't talked to Lars in a bit here. And where do we stand? Because we have a number of things we got to prepare for. So it was both a mental and a physical experience that we were ready to go through. Physical meaning moving. Mental is the whole shift thing that I just discussed. And then I just got a quick email back from HR person, I think it was. And it basically said, yeah, that position has been filled. What? I am blown away. It's been filled. That was not the process that I understood. There was another contender, but I thought that at least you'd have the courtesy to keep me posted. No, that was not the case at all. That position has been filled, and we don't need you up here, essentially, is what they were saying in a nice way. And then I had to dig around and find out who was the hire. I mean, the other person, he was not available, which was a sad thing for the executive there. So maybe there was another person. And so the more I dug into this, the more I found out, no, the guy was indeed I think it was Redback, as I said. Redback Technologies is an information IT-based company. He was basically invited to come over at a healthy salary package, I understand. And he joined. And that was it. I was out. And the reason why this happened is because, and I knew this, but I didn't place much value on it at the time, is because the CIO, he had mentioned that's his friend. They had worked together. They trusted each other. And it was already in play in terms of that relationship, even though he was not available. It was just ultimately not a simple, for me, it was a simple discussion. I know that I'm going to head up there. This is a done deal. For him, it was not so simple because he really wanted that guy. He was the one, not me. So in fact, he was probably, and I'm guessing at this, doing a little bit of politician work here, kind of the poker face type of attitude, where smiling and agreeing to everything that I said, but in fact, all along, it was about the other guy. The other guy was probably more talented and probably more experienced, actually, as I look at this. But me, as a fairly new person into this position, although I'd had a similar position down in LA, this was a global perspective. In fact, about a year, 6 months earlier, 6 months to a year, I had the opportunity to travel for Yahoo, and they sent me to New York, where I was speaking, to Paris, to the UK. They sent me to Ireland, and in Ireland, I actually met a famous actor. One that actually was on the Golden Globes here just a few days ago, and we still keep in touch today. And meeting all these people and learning the different ways from both a cultural mindset, the business mindset, and also their personal lives, because we went out and socialized, etc. I mean, I knew exactly what this was going to be about, and so I was fired up to get this position. I mean, I tasted it already. They'd given me a chance to do that. And Yahoo, yeah, during those days, I really spent the money too. I mean, I lived in some very nice hotels and, enjoyed some really nice breakfasts and dinners, and learned a lot during that time, especially about people and the way they look at work and projects differently at different locations. And of course, I was able to stop by Norway, and I went up north to Norway and talked to the FAST team, which is a search team in Trondheim at the time. I mean, I was hot shit, to put it mildly, or at least I felt I was hot shit. But it was all really just a layer of, it was like, what do you call it? It's not a solid foundation. There was just too much sort of temporary dialogue going on. It was not super deep, and it was not going to be anything that helped me to get that position ultimately, even though I got a taste for it. So I was probably somewhat egotistical, to be frank with you, in assuming that I was hot shit, even though, as I said, I really felt it. So I guess as I'm going a little bit off script here today, I just wanted to relay this story to you about the opportunities that exist. There are too many opportunities that you may not even be aware of right now. And if you're coming from a small place, a small mindset, a small city, a small town, different culture, different country, different language, you can have it all. That's my ultimate message here today. But you have to keep going. And there is no, oh yeah, you know what, that didn't work, so I'm going to bail. I had 3 things not work in a row, meaning could be 3 years or 3 job opportunities that failed. No, you just keep going, because ultimately you know your worth. And it's not an overnight thing by any means. That's what life is all about. And that's why I'm excited to share this with you, because ultimately, if you can get through the various layers of complexity here, whether you're an employee at a corporation or if you're thinking about starting something where you're running your own side hustle, well, ultimately being an entrepreneur is what got me there. All these things got me to the entrepreneurial place, even though I'd been somewhat entrepreneurial over the years, starting with the music business back in Scandinavia. It was this thing of trial and error and going through the years and the layers of complexity, which really life is all about, guys and gals. And that's why I wanted to share this for you today. And to become a business owner and an entrepreneur is the ultimate risk/challenge, because frankly, it never changes. It's every day there's something new. There's something that comes up, whether it's creeping up slowly behind you and suddenly attacking you from behind, or if you see something that's up ahead and you actually might get it or not. This sort of risk management as an entrepreneur is what it's all about. And it's tough because it's not always a steady paycheck, as you well know, if you're an entrepreneur. But the ultimate payout is the freedom and the flexibility and the ability to contribute to society and to your community, and to, whether it's local or online, is amazing. And I remember a few years ago, a plumber that was working on our house, he said, "Hey, Jan, I see you around all the time. I mean, do you work, or what's the situation over here?" And we had a very nice house at the time, so that probably played into his conversation. I don't get it, right? And so I said, "Well, we haven't inherited anything. I'm building something new." And he said, "What is that?" "Well, it's an agency. It's a marketing and advertising SEO agency. And, that's what I'm working on." And he's like, "Wow, that sounds exciting, but I don't know entirely what that is. But I see you around all the time. It must be really cool." And this was his kind of point here. Really cool to be around with your family and your kids. You're growing small but growing kids all the time, because I frankly work out all the time. I'm never with my kids, and I wish I had your life. And I said, "Well, thank you for that." you may not want my life, but the idea of my life might be a good one, which is that freedom and flexibility to be with your family, friends, and travel when you want, etc., etc. But truly, it's hard work because it's a mental game, so much of this stuff. Sure, you need to be educated, you need to learn every day, you need to read, you need to study, you need to listen. 2 ears listen more than you speak type of thing, right? But also be able to take on challenges that, frankly, you look at and say, I have not done that. I remember years earlier, I was working as a consultant for Microsoft. During the interview, they asked me if I'd worked on a certain database. I think it was SQL Server at the time. It was Microsoft Access, believe it or not, talking to SQL Server. And I said, yeah, absolutely, I've worked on that. I had not much, little bit, but not much. And that was a key question, I felt. So that weekend, I just bought the books. I bought some software, some videos, I think it was, but it was primarily the books at the time. And I studied like a madman for the Monday morning kind of kickoff meeting, because I got the job. And I became a star there. And that's not what I said. That's what they said, because I kept that job for about a year and a half. And I was moving up the ranks and working with some of the top Microsoft consultants. Now, that is an example of that challenge I was talking about when the plumber said, Ayan, I want your life. Well, you might not want that, because if you're not willing to step up like that, it's going to be a challenge. And that's what I did. That example is one of many. A few years earlier, before that, I was working on a database compiler, and the system that we sold in multiple countries across the globe, including 250,000 copies sold, was a somewhat complex system, but we had deployed many of them out in the marketplace. And there was not an internet company, an IT company in Culver City that was having problems with indexing their large databases. And they'd heard about me, and so they wanted to have me come on there. And they said, you have to rush over here because our entire company is down. We can't talk to the databases because of this indexing problem, which is how they search and filter, sort it, etc. So I said, well, I'll give it a shot, right? But I kind of knew enough to where I'm thinking I know what the problem is. So I went in kind of confidently. And within 20 minutes, I solved the whole damn thing. And the company was back up and running. The owner walking around just praising the Lord and praising me for being such a savior of the business. And then when he asked me what was actually the problem, and I said, well, you need to delete all the indexes that were created because they were corrupt, and just hit the rebuild button, essentially. And that's what I did. And he said, well, how much do I owe you? And I said, no, not a big thing. Well, let me just give you $250. And at that time, $250 for 20 minutes. Hey, I can do this as a business. So yes, I continued that business and started scaling up as well. But ultimately, it was all about problem solving, constant problem solving, and frankly, solving this, because I did not know if I was going to solve it, but there was a level of confidence. And also I knew that I come from a good place. I'm not trying to, be fake or, be spammy or scammy or fraudulent. Or if you come from a good place, I'll say that's my lesson. And you're really there to try and help, and you're really trying to dig in and understand where they're coming from. Walk a mile in their shoes, as the expression goes. You have a lot of opportunity. And I think for me, here in the U.S., those opportunities are given left and right. I didn't see it at the time because back in Norway, that was not the mentality or the culture. You had to be more formally trained and educated to get a job in a position. So it was very much a step ladder thing here. I could just go into a business and start working with the owners and the CEOs and executives on solving problems. And it became a go-to for me, talking right to the owners, getting the problem solved, and either continuing the relationship or exiting because we did our job, or I did my job. So this has been an amazing journey so far, and it continues. And now the challenge is for me how to get this message out there on the interwebs, and primarily here on YouTube, because that's the the channel I'm having fun with. You know, watching all the big players in YouTube is always exciting and challenging. Watched one on Mr. Beast today, which of course is the biggest YouTuber right now and will be for many years. But ultimately, the same thing comes into play at whichever level that I'm studying or learning from in terms of people, and that is problem solving, you know. And the bigger the problems, the bigger the return for the business and also you. Solve big problems, you can actually charge for that. And, you know, quit the $27 ebook thing is what I'm saying. So ultimately, being a entrepreneur, a business owner, was the final outcome that really made a lot of sense for me coming out of Yahoo. And I want to thank the executive, Lars specifically, for not hiring me. And I quit within that same week. Thank you. I'm out of here. Yes, I was angry. I could have probably cooled down a little bit and figure out the next steps. But in fact, that level of urgency just sparked a new, fire in me. And so that's when I started the agency. And we got some investment money, which, by the way, I should not have taken. I don't advocate that, especially not in a startup, even though it sounds exciting. More stories on that, by the way, in those early years. But we can deal with that later. If you have questions, go ahead and put them below, and I'll share more on that and some of the learnings and the teachings that I've been able to give back. But ultimately, that's what did it for me. So when I say I quitting corporate America, quitting the business of politics and BS conversations in the hallways and the chatter, has been very freeing, but challenging, because now the checks don't come in like they used to. You have to build it, and you have to grow it, and you have to sustain it, and be passionate enough to just continue, you know. Kind of interesting, again, reference to Mr. Beast as an example, where the first 10 years or something, some very long number of years, where he'd get 100, 200 views, 50 views, nothing. I mean, compared to now, where each video is, 200 million views, etc. Global enterprise with Feastables and all that good stuff. So that's something to aspire to, although, of course, that's a whole different level, but it's inspiring. And if you want to learn more about how I built mine and my lifestyle and the levels of freedom, happy to share more. In fact, if you click the link below, I have a small community of leaders. There's an application for it, but very excited about it, actually, because I'm teaching and learning also from you on some of these principles and these approaches that can help grow your own life, your own business, and scale up. We at the agency work with a lot of clients that have Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn advertising problems, and we help them scale. We can scale up to $10,000 a day and more. It's all depending on the business, clearly. But ultimately, as a kind of the ultimate takeaway, learning from others and studying and keeping at it and leveling up and never settle. That is the key to success. And it is not overnight. I mean, that's the ultimate cliche, right? But as you know, we want everything today. We cannot wait for a week or a month or 2 years, but that's what it takes sometimes. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower. But hey, I hope that you like my message here today. I'd love to hear from you. Again, kind of unscripted a little bit here today. I got my notes, and I don't think I have anything else I wanted to cover here again, other than I won't be working for corporate America again, to be sure. However, they're great clients of mine, so kudos to them for sticking it out, and we love it. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Jan out.